So in the mouse video I released a couple days ago, I agree with Gaijin's statement that the mouse could not be balanced. This was based on my experience fighting it and the testimony of other players, who for the most part said the mouse was borderline impossible to play. After the video went live, I remember that I actually managed to research the mouse before it was removed, so I was curious to see how it played for myself. After a decent number of games, I pretty quickly reversed my opinion on it. As I typically do with this style of video, I'll play a short kill compilation to show my experience with it. As you can see, the mouse is far from useless. I ended up with 80 kills and 18 deaths, giving my mouse a KD ratio of 4.44. My typical KD is around 2.3 or so. For the sake of comparison, my KD in a T32E1, another 7.7 heavy tank, is 2.08. That isn't to say the mouse is overpowered though. I think that given enough matches it will probably sell around 3.5 or so, but it's still not a bad tank by any metric. I think that 7.7 is a perfect battle rating for it. And given the current stats for other mouse players, I believe that's a fairly safe bet. My win rate isn't that bad either, around 64%. I will say that having separate bindings for the primary and secondary cannons helps a lot. The 75mm makes for a great utility weapon, being able to knock down obstacles and overpressure some light vehicles. It does have to be played very cautiously in up tiers, but that's true for pretty much every heavy tank in the game. The mouse is just the most extreme case. I think that when people play the mouse, there's this tendency to drive down roads directly at the enemy. This can kind of work in down tiers, but it will get you killed pretty quickly. So I guess my advice is to play carefully, make sure you're angling your hole in your turret when someone is about to shoot it, have separate keybinds for the cannons, and don't try too hard to do well in it. If you just sit back and relax, it can be a very fun tank to play. The biggest limiting factor is the reload rate, but since you have an electric transmission, it can be pretty easy to fire then duck back into cover while you reload. It's also a good idea to minimize your ammunition load. I take 20 128mm shells and 30 75mm shells. That takes all the ammo out of the turret and leaves a lot more empty space in the hull. For my experience fighting mouse players, taking a full ammo load is one of the most common mistakes. Up tiers are decently rare, but so are down tiers. Usually you'll be fighting other 7.7s. Whenever I make a video like this, saying that a vehicle considered to be bad is actually pretty good, people always make the argument that I'm just an incredibly good player. That's not really the case, and that argument doesn't hold water anyway. I'd say I'm slightly better than average, but not good enough that I can make vehicles overpowered on a whim. I'm pretty good at memorizing weak spots, but in commentary videos where I show larger segments of gameplay, it's pretty evident that my situational awareness is awful, and sometimes my brain just goes into slow mode. Having a KD of around 2 isn't exactly stellar either. Regardless, if an experienced person is capable of doing really well in a vehicle that is considered to be useless, it does seem more like a skill issue more than anything. Some vehicles are very good, but have to be played in very specific ways to do well, and that's fine. Not every tank has to be the best in the world as soon as you pick it up. Anyway, that's all there is to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.